What happens when you drop OpenTTD's AIs into a world that's long and thin and brutally hard to building? Then you crank up the infrastructure maintenance, slash their starting loan, and hike up the interest rates. Well, this is pure AI torture, and this time there's no second chances. Hello there, Master Hellish here, and today we're punishing the AIs in a nightmare map in OpenTTD. This map is stretched to the limit, long and narrow and packed with mountains and lakes and awkward distances. The towns and industries are there, but getting to them won't be so easy. You can see the AIs that are taking part in this punishment on the screen now. On the left is the company, and on the right is the actual AI behind the company. Not always the same. And also, I'm using the subtropical climate. That way, some of the towns won't even grow unless the AIs deliver food and water, and I'm not sure they'll really think to do that. And with the brutal game settings and that instant elimination for bankruptcies, survival is going to be far from guaranteed. Let's find out who adapts and who gets completely wiped out. Right then, here we go. So we've got transport companies being launched. We're going to get those notifications. We're going to get 14 of them as all 14 AIs jump on the map. Now, these AIs have been chosen because they have took part in previous videos and have done either okay or haven't crashed. I don't really want scripts crashing when we're doing this sort of thing. So we're going to have to find where the AIs are building, because this is a very long map and they're going to be built up. Here we go. Right. So we have one already. Choo Choo AI is putting in a basic line. You can see it's using this station label to tell you what it's up to at the moment. Building trains. Oil service. We've got an oil service. I did wonder what was going on, because there's a diamond mine here and there's a diamond mine there. But it's nothing to do with the diamond mines. Choo Choo's decided to do a little bit of oil. And you know what? That line, will bring in a little bit of money. And they're going to need it. It's going to be really expensive to keep some of these companies going. We're going to have a close look at the operating profit graph, but not just that, the company value graph as well. Both of these graphs are going to be key in keeping an eye on what companies are doing well and what companies are struggling. I see an aircraft. It looks like, is that Uberswarm has an aircraft going? Let's have a look at the aircrafts. Yes, Uberswarm and Snake both have aircrafts. Snake has got one, and Uberswarm has got one as well. One isn't really a swarm. We'll have to let them know that, but we'll see how they get going. More transport companies are getting going, and we have 3 companies with trains, 1 company with road vehicles, and so far a couple with ships as well, including OTVI, which has got 1 passenger ferry, and Hellish ferry, which has got 2. Now, there's not going to be that many vehicles starting to begin with because of the very low loan. The maximum loan is £100,000. That's not much, and I can see a good deal of that has just been spent down here by the AIvsAI. Now, the AIvsAI is the pretty much only AI to challenge the hog recently. We'll have to see how they get on, but we've got a service here that's picking up fruit, and they've managed to find a little tiny space where they don't need a bridge, popped a tunnel through a hill, and they're delivering it to a food processing plant. I think this should make half decent money. Looking at the cargo payment rates, you can see that some pay much better than others. Wood is quite difficult because you have to fund that industry. We'll get rid of that one. And of course, goods isn't a primary, so you need to do something else first. We'll get rid of that. The next one here is diamonds. If you can get enough diamonds, that pays really well. Food, again, not a primary industry, so we'll ignore that for now. And the next ones on the list down here are the copper ore and the oil. So they're the kind of 3 that you really want to be looking out for. Diamonds, copper ore, and the oil. Here we've got the railway AI not using any railways, and they've got a bus service between these 2 towns. Relatively small towns, actually, only 172 in population. Must be slim pickings of where you can build on this map, because that's not great. Let's actually have a look at the town directory and find out. Oh, yes, okay. So we've got a few cities that are quite high in population. That's quite generous. And we can see here that we've got a town of over 6,000 in population. And the Snake AI has an airport there already with lots of passengers and mail. Only 1 aircraft doing that route. Hopefully that will pay off. a bus route by Admiral. Oh, there we go. We've got one company already in trouble. Snake is going to be sold off or declared bankrupt unless it does any better. Let's have a look at their performance. Oh, there's not just one. Two. Uberswarm. Is there another? No. Two are struggling. Let's have a look at the operating profit. Oh my goodness. So you can see that there are two AIs right down here at the bottom of the graph. They are in the massive negatives in terms of operating profit. And then further up here, we've got one doing quite well, which I think is Choo Choo, and the rest are below zero. At the minute, only one AI is on the operating profit graph, and it's actually positive. The Hog AI is still in the negatives as well. Now, this railway line over here is being expanded. Oh, Not Perfect AI is also in trouble now. I said this challenge was going to be difficult for them. And we've got the next tick on the operating profit graph. And thankfully, a few of the AIs have managed to pull into the positives. Although those two down at the bottom there, looks like Snake and Uberswarm are still not doing very well. And there's some worrying starts for some of the others as well. The Hog AI has actually got some hovercraft. Now, this is not something you often see the Hog AI do. That's because there's usually a much better route you can do with a big long railway line or some airports. But in this case, it's certainly decided that doing a long passenger ferry service was actually going to be much better instead, and it's chosen some pretty good towns. 4,000 in population and nearly 3,000 in population. Now, they might not be making much money yet, but maybe they will do soon. Let's have a look. Okay, yep, making 25 grand profit already this year. Ships aren't always great for profit, but if you do them right, especially with the faster ferries, then you can usually make a bit of money. And if we take a look at the world map, you can see just how silly this world is. It is the longest and thinnest you can do in the standard game of OpenTTD, and there are a lot of companies going on these islands already. There's not a massive amount of space. It could get quite busy, but that depends on how many AIs actually survive and how many get kicked off the game. Simple AI has gone for a simple railway line. It's quite a long one, and it looks like it's trying to deliver oil. No, it's water. It's a water service? Oh, right, okay. I thought it was going to be trying to deliver oil here or maybe goods back, but no. It's going from the water supply all the way down here and delivering it to this town. And this town is actually one of the ones that doesn't need water. Oh, there we go. Uberswarm has gone. OTVI has bought it out. We have our first company merger. Snake has also been sold off. Oh my goodness, let's have a look here. There we go. So now the operating profit graph has got rid of those two AIs. Uberswarm has just completely gone. You can see here in the key there is a blank space where they used to be, and Snake AI has gone as well, wiped out of the game. Well, 14 started and there are only 12 left, and you can see that the AA Hog EX is now doing very well, jumped up to the top of the operating profit. Not surprising, but I wonder how big that gap is going to be later on. Let's check some of the finances over here. So this particular transport company has taken out a massive loan and only has 14 grand in the bank account. And let's have a look. The Bork AI has 95 grand in the bank, actually. Bork hasn't done anything yet. Bork has tried to do some construction. What construction has Bork done? Let's have a look. Got no vehicles. Brilliant. Okay. It doesn't look like they've done anything they haven't got any infrastructure. They might have placed something and then deleted it again. Bork is struggling to find somewhere to make money, and another AI is already out of the game. We've only just had over a year and Not Perfect AI has gone. And here we go. There's the confirmation that we've currently got 55 vehicles in the game. We've had no crashes, and we've had 2 company mergers. That last bankruptcy notification came in just before that one, so that one will be counted in the next year, which means we now have 3 gaps in our operating profit graph. Oh my goodness, look at Trains AI. It has dive bombed in operating profit. Trains AI has been attempting to build a railway line. Let's just hide these trees, shall we? Alright, so this is one end of the railway line. Where's the other? Oh my goodness, yeah. I think the water and the landscaping has got it here. So just confirmation here, it's actually OTVI AI that is the one that might be declared bankrupt. I got those two greens the wrong way round. Let's have a look at their finances. Okay, so here we go. They have taken out all the maximum loan and their bank balance is minus 166. Oh yes, yes, that is that operating profit. What vehicles have they got? Let's have a look. 5 road vehicles, 1 ship and 2 aircraft? Well, why are they doing so terrible? Well, their aircraft... Oh, one of the aircraft did make a lot of money. Okay, that's good. The other one doesn't seem to have made any money yet. But their infrastructure costs 180,000 for their infrastructure costs. Oh my goodness, and that is even worse. It's estimated to be £500,000 a year. Airports. It's nearly all airports. They've got 4 really expensive airports. Why would you have 4 airports and only 2 aircraft when they cost that much in maintenance? Obviously, OTVI AI doesn't have a clue about the costs of their infrastructure. And then another one right over here. What on earth is this airport doing here? I mean, it accepts nothing. I suppose it could... I don't know. You might be able to pick up rubber? What was it thinking? Okay, now OTVI has managed to make a little bit of turnaround in their profits, okay? Now, that is probably due to all of the income that I saw from their ships and aircraft and so forth. There we go, look, the aircraft. Those airports are really expensive to maintain. You can make a lot of money from them, but £500,000 a year for 4 airports is a lot of money in this early stage of the game. Choo Choo AI is moving some more oil. I think that AI is actually doing quite well. Relatively short-ish oil services. And remember, oil is one of those top 3 on this map that pays quite well. And Choo Choo has quite a few trains, and you can see, oh, is that one copper ore? Yeah, copper ore and oil. Really good choice from Choo Choo there. And there we go, we knew it was coming. OTVI has been closed down by the creditors and completely sold off. Yeah, I think it's not going to be too long before maybe a few more are unsuccessful. So far, we've lost 4 AIs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run this experiment as far into the future as I need to be able to determine that the ones that are still in the game won't become bankrupt and actually lose. So once we've got some good stable companies and we've let them run for a while and we make sure that they're successful, we can then see how well they've done and which ones have failed. Let me know in the comments how many of the AI you think are going to fail. How many are we going to have left by the end of the game? And at the end of the second year, we're up to 94 vehicles in the game. We haven't had any crashes yet, but I don't think I'd expect that at the moment with all of these companies spread out. 2 of them have been made bankrupt, and 2 of them have been merged. And look, just as I was saying it, here we go. We've had our first crash of the game. Let's see what the situation is here. So Simple AI has a railway, and Admiral AI has some roads. And it looks like we could end up with even more casualties at this rate, with these trains that are going backwards and forwards here. I don't know who was here first, but this definitely needs a bridge. Ah, there we go. I called it. The second crash is in exactly the same spot. It's happened again. I'm not sure if the AI is going to do anything about this. Some AIs will delete the road and put a bridge in if this happens once or twice. Others will just completely ignore the problem and keep just mincing vehicles with the trains. The Hog AI has actually got 21 ships going. We've got a load of the new hovercrafts here and some of the old ferries for some weird reason. We've even got a cargo ship doing mail as well. Oh, 23 now. More ships have just been added. You can see that some of these vehicles are actually doing really well for the Hog AI. These hovercraft down here made a good chunk of money, and I bet these guys are just doing a nice little service between 2... Oh yeah, it's this one that we're at now. It's the one I think that we looked at earlier, yeah, just going backwards and forwards between 2 relatively large towns. Although if we have a look at the operating profit, we can see that the Hog AI is not doing too great. It jumped down in profit last time. Now, this might be because the lines are a little bit longer or something and they haven't had a delivery. Hopefully they're doing okay, but we can also see what appears to be Hellish doing pretty well. Now down at the bottom there are 2 AIs that seem to be struggling. that looks like AIvsAI and Trains AI are both in the negatives on the operating profit at the moment. Although the AIvsAI has been doing up and down and not too bad overall. I think if we look at their finances, yeah, they're in the positive overall for cash flow. So they've got 53,000 in the bank. This is a good point in the game to start looking at that company value graph. Companies that have a lot of cash in the bank and don't spend too much and don't have a negative operating profit where that cash in the bank dwindles away are going to be fine. They're going to make it. They're not going to get taken out. But the ones down at the bottom there, the ones that don't have a value, are the ones that probably don't have any cash. There are a few examples of AIs sharing roads, and some AIs can deliberately do this, and some do it by accident. They're all programmed slightly differently, but here they're going down a nice little route, and two AIs are using the same road, which of course is quite efficient. Checking in on the world map, we can see there's not a massive amount of infrastructure, and that's not really surprising. It's a relatively thin map, and that makes it difficult to lay the infrastructure, and also a lot of the infrastructure that the AI are using is ships. You don't need to do anything for that. Similar with aircraft, but they're too expensive to run properly. In addition, the AIs didn't have a lot of starting money, so that's not a lot of infrastructure laid out to begin with. But we just moved in to the next year. We now have 157 vehicles in the game. We've had 3 crashes, and still only 4 have been knocked out of the game from bankruptcies and mergers. Looking at the operating profit though, I am starting to wonder how long it's going to be until Trains AI gets kicked out of the game. They only have just over £5,000 left in the bank account, and if we have a look at their information, they still have no vehicles. Well, it looks like the AIvsAI has managed to completely bounce back from their dip, and this is the point where their operating profit seems to just go into the stratosphere. If we have a look at their company information, we can see that they've only got 3 trains, 94 ships on this occasion, and only 2 aircraft. We have a look at their infrastructure information, we can see that it's costing them $283,000 a year. Most of that is from the airports though, but at this stage, they can afford that. And this company is well and truly safe and doing so much better than all the others. But then again, I guess we've come to expect that from the hog. I think from now on, for the most part, we'll hide them on the graph to make it easier to look at the rest of them. And as we look at the rest of them, we can see that there are some big fluctuations. Hellish was doing really well, but over the last few points have absolutely plummeted for some strange reason. Others are up and down, so let's see why Hellish might be doing terrible. Well, here's their vehicles. They've got a few aircraft, and most of their hovercraft are actually doing quite well, making some half-decent money, especially when you consider it's actually ships. Oh, we got some updated stats, so still only 4 out of the game at the moment, but 285 vehicles are now in the game. Now, looking at the vehicles of the Hellish, we can see that the aircraft are, well, all helicopters, which usually aren't great. They are making some money, though, not a massive amount. Little bits of money, they're in profit. But I think I know why this company had a bit of a problem. I think it started with the ships, was making good money, and then moved into doing aircraft. And we all know how much that aircraft is going to cost them. We look at the details here, we can see that their station tiles are 4,000, but their airports are 382, and I bet they're relatively new. Oh, and there are loads of them. Okay, they're little heliports for the most part. Okay, so these little heliports don't actually cost as much money in infrastructure maintenance as the big airports, and they can be really good, especially if you are just using those helicopters for some reason. However, we've got quite a few of them, 14 stations here, and totaling up to about $250,000 a year. And I think this expansion into aviation for Hellish could be a big problem. Oh, there is an interesting junction by Choo Choo. Not quite sure what it was trying to do here, but maybe it works. Looks like the left hand and a split. What's it doing? That is a strange station. That's a very strange station. Oh, another crash. Oh, it's that same junction again. It's strange. There's some parts of the world that are quite busy, like this section here. I'm seeing at least 5 different AIs all working through the same group of cities. But then you go a little bit further along, and there's just nothing here. No AIs have gone through any of these towns or any of these industries. Once again, if we ignore the hog AI and look at the remaining people, Choo Choo's actually started to climb up. It's in second place, a nice strong position there. And Hellish seems to be turning things around. You can see down at the bottom here, that downwards plummet has started to bend around. Is it going to be able to bend and come back up in time? I'm not sure. And with the next tick of the graph, we can see that not only have they managed to turn it around, but Hellish has jumped up in the operating profit once again. I wonder if this is a big comeback moment for them. Oh, there has been another vehicle crashed and done in right over here at these level crossings. Surely somebody's got to do something about this. Oh, one of the AIs did do something about it. They replaced the vehicle. They just bought a new one. I wonder how many crashes that's going to be. And now we can see that we are up to 6 crashes. 348 road vehicles, number of vehicles climbing very slowly in this game compared to others that I've done before. Obviously, the AIs are struggling. Now, I'm not sure what just happened, but 3 AIs have now plummeted once again. The AI seems to go up and down anyway, so we'll leave them doing whatever they are doing. But Hellish and another one, let's see who's that one down there? AIvsAI have both had a big jump downwards. It might be that AIvsAI has just purchased an aircraft. That might be the reason. You can see here that they've got an aircraft that had nothing last year, so we know that this is a new aircraft. And if we have a look at their stations as well, they have 2 airports, and I bet they're the big ones. Yes, there's a big airport, and it's nicely wedged between 2 towns. And we're starting to get more track crossing over and under and round other track now, as the AIs are starting to build on the same sections. The ones that have the money are now expanding quite nicely across the world. I do feel a little sorry for Larnwell. It's over here at the edge of the map. Nothing much around it apart from a few islands, and is being completely ignored. But it is quite a gap between there and some of the other places, so maybe the AIs might expand there later on, but for now, it's just sitting down here, all lonely. Oh no, AIvsAI is really feeling the cost of those airports now. Let's see if it's done even more. No, it's only got 1 aircraft at the moment, and it's made £16,000 profit this year. That £16,000 profit is not going to offset the 300-odd thousand pounds it's cost for the airports for this one little aircraft. Oh, and we've had our first plane crash. Now, this is bound to happen, but it could be very costly. These routes need to make a lot of money because the airports are so expensive on that infrastructure maintenance. And that has been done. Oh, it's one of the Hog's aircraft. Okay, I'm sure the Hog can afford that. Let's have a look at the operating profit and put the Hog back on. Oh, yes, there we go. And there's official confirmation that Hellish are having some financial issues. We'll have to check them out pretty soon. But yep, there we go. The Hog AI absolutely killing it there. The other ones just look like they're a flat line at the bottom in comparison. Get rid of them again, and we can see some of the trouble that some of these people are having. And there's no big surprise, but AIvsAI is also having some problems here. Let's have a look at their finances. AIvsAI, here we go. Oh, minus 63,000. Not too bad, actually. That might be recoverable. There is a chance that AIvsAI could pull this off. The Hog AI has started using the Yates-Hugin. I don't blame it. It's a very fast aircraft. You can do long distances nice and quick and get a good amount of money from your passengers. Now, what it isn't good at is the amount of capacity. So if you've got a lot of aircraft trying to get in and out your airport, you don't want to use this. I know it's tempting because it's so quick. But at this stage of the game, where the airports aren't getting clogged because you haven't got that many aircraft, it's quite good. Then, when it gets too busy, you can move to aircraft that have a higher capacity later on. The company value graph tells a good bit of the story. Hiding the Hog shows us that some companies have just been steadily climbing quite nicely as they've been accumulating more money and growing their business. But some of them have just gone down, and this is probably due to a poor choice in tactics here. Oh, there we go. Hellish just went right in front of our eyes. Both docks and airports got removed as the company went bankrupt. Saw that one coming, didn't we? I wonder how long it will be until the next one goes. Let's take a look at that operating profit graph. There we go. We've now got 5 spaces in that operating profit graph. And it looks like AIvsAI might be next. And there we go. Admiral AI is bankrupt as well. Wow, okay. Saw that coming, didn't we? Let's have a look there. There's what's left on their operating profit. You can see we've got a good number of companies doing okay, but still Trains AI stuck down there at the bottom. I think it's just completely frozen. We're going to see this one go eventually, right? Surely it's bleeding the value of that loan interest. Oh yeah, look, it's got £109 left in the bank. That's just going to go, isn't it? Choo Choo AI looks like it's trying to expand. It's got a new network that it's looking into doing around here somewhere. I love these little signs that some of the AIs put up so you know roughly what it's trying to do. And as we look up and down the world, there's plenty of aircraft and ships. But not just that, they are doing tracks and trains and road vehicles too. And not so much, but they are about on the various different points. Some of them are quite small, little tiny routes. But you know what? I think they're probably going to be making a little bit of money. Yeah, look at that. Look at that, 10 grand for those 6 vehicles going backwards and forwards. Not a massive amount of profit, but it should offset the infrastructure costs and be okay for that particular company. This here is the Railway AI. It looks like the ones that have started with trains and road vehicles did the best. Also, those that went in on good shipping routes did okay. Choo Choo's still trying to find new places to build. And at the end of that eventful year, we now have 4 bankruptcies, 2 company mergers, and we're up to nearly 500 vehicles in the game. Focusing on the AI for a moment, it seems that it has done something recently to up its value. In the past, it was going up and down in a fairly regular pattern, just dipping into the negatives a little bit and having some good profit every now and then. It's not immediately obvious to me what the AI's done to improve, but looking at the heights of these zigs and zags, probably can discount the road vehicles. Although they made 48 grand last year, so maybe the addition of these road vehicles, yeah, looking at the train money actually, these trains are not making a lot of money, only 9 grand-ish last year. I think these road vehicles might have been what pushed this whole thing up. The AI has spread the entire station around the city, collecting up most of the passengers. It's going to be able to get a maximum of 500 and something odd passengers, and if it does mail, then a load of mail, but 500 passengers every month from over there, and well, presumably it's done the same thing over here. Yeah, it's spread the vehicles right across the entire town. Although this one won't grow because it requires food and water and it's not being supplied. That's going to trip the AIs up on some of these cities. It's just not going to grow at all. Choo Choo AI is still trying to build new networks, although doing it round here would be a right pain. You've got some big hills and you're penned in with existing infrastructure, and also, for some reason, a large amount of these towers. Despite all the new vehicles that are constantly being added to the game, Larnwell is still lonely at the end of the world. What has happened here? Bork AI has just absolutely plummeted. Is it Bork? Yep, Bork AI has just absolutely plummeted. Let me guess, have they gone into the aviation industry? Oh, they now have 2 brand new aircraft, and it looks like they might have splashed out a little bit too much. Here we go. Oh my goodness. Okay, so they not only have 2 aircraft, but 4 airports. If you have a look here, it's costing them £450,000 a year for those 4 airports. That's expensive for 2 aircraft. I mean, if you did 2 airports and then got a bunch of aircraft on them, that could be sustainable. You'd be looking at obviously around half the price, just over 200,000, and just over 200,000 could be okay if you're making good money out of it. Let's find out if this goes down further or whether it manages to turn it around. Bork AI might be in some serious trouble here. They didn't go down any further, and they've managed to turn their profit around. But is it going to come back up in time? I don't know. And as we hit the 10-year mark, we have had a good number of crashes, 10 of them, and also those 6 companies are out of the game. We're up to nearly 1,000 vehicles, and for a game of this size with this many AIs isn't too bad. Although Bork AI, I think, is going to be out of the game sometime soon. Yes, look at that. Minus 87,000 in bank balance, only 30,000 left of the loan to be able to use. Unless they get rid of their airports and concentrate on their infrastructure, they're in trouble. And there we go, confirmation that Bork is going to be having some problems. They're going. I think they're off. I think Bork's had it. I find it interesting that a lot of the world around here has various different bits of infrastructure, but not a lot of railways. However, then there's a section over here where there's quite a lot of railways. The AIs have built their stations and tracks around each other, and around towns as well. And they even have even more complexity over here, with various different bits going over, under, and round each other. Although some of these are a little bit wiggly, they do work. Nothing too crazy from these relatively simple lines, but I think the lack of money has stopped them going too nuts with some of the building. And there we go. We knew it was coming, but Bork AI has been closed down and sold off. It's a shame, really, because they were doing okay, but then just invested in aviation with a poor plan. Too many airports, not enough aircraft, not enough income, and now we're down to a handful of AIs. Of course, the Hog AI absolutely dominating the charts. Removing them off the top shows the other ones down below. That brings us now to 5 bankruptcies and 2 mergers, although I've noticed recently the number of crashes have stopped. Now, is that because one of the companies that was involved in those crashes has gone? Let's investigate. I think that might be the case. I think this is where it was. You can see here the T-junctions where the stations were, and you can also see on the junction here where the depot was. I think this piece of road is no longer being used. Yes, you see there is now no owner of this particular piece of road because that AI has gone. Now the road next to it is still being used, and that's done by the railway AI, but it's not going across the crossing anymore. So in theory, no more crashes. I think all the crashes came from this one place. Although unfortunately, Larnwell is still over there by itself. Oh, what happened with Simple AI here? They had a bit of a dip. Oh, it looks like they got some aircraft in. Yep, they got some aircraft. These are brand new aircraft. And of course, that means they've had to pay for some airports. Now, this one has done the right thing. 2 large aircraft to carry a lot of passengers and only 2 airports. This might be sustainable for them. If we have a look here at the company details, we can see £315,000 a year for those 2 airports. They must be quite big ones. Yep, here we go. There's an example of one of the big ones. But the difference here is we have 2 aircraft using those airports, and they're bringing in relatively good money. Oh, Simple AI is struggling with that aircraft. I think, though, they are making some... Oh, here we go. Okay, so has Simple AI made a gamble that's going to pay off here? They're still paying for airports. How many have they got now? Okay, they've gone up to 6 airports and only 5 aircraft. I've got a funny feeling they've gone wrong here. There's another aircraft crashes for the Hog AI. Oh, there you go. I called it. They've shot down even more. Let's have a look at the situation here. Or could this be the end of Simple AI? Now, they're in minus 26,000 in the bank, but they have got loan to be able to take out to offset that if they need to. However, well, I don't know, more new vehicles? Have they bought more aircraft? Let's have a look. No, they're still at 5 aircraft. Oh, I think it could be a close one here. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments right now. Is this the end for the Simple AI, or are they going to pull it back? Now, if we do lose a couple more companies, that's going to open things up a little bit. A lot of these lines are going through and round and under in unnecessary ways just to fit them in through this strange landscape, as you can see here. But if a few of those companies disappear, that frees up some prime real estate for the existing ones to capitalize on it. And there's the official notification. This is Garth Hill Transport, the Simple AI. They are definitely in trouble. I got a funny feeling we're about to see a removal of a company. Yep, there they go. The airport is gone. They're gone off the graph. That's it. Simple AI is out of the game. And that brings us up to 6 bankruptcies with those 2 mergers, passing that 1,000 vehicle limit despite those 8 companies being removed from the game. Checking out the town directory now, we can see that Sunfield has grown to over 13,000 in population. This is a very dense city, and if you can get stuff From the middle, that is usually quite good. This airport here has okay coverage in the top corner, but not in the thick, tall buildings. And they spread right out to the water's edge here, where you've got this fantastic little port. Over 3,000 passengers waiting to be moved. And here we've got a very big town, but not a lot of stuff going on the outside. It's all going on the inside. We've got mail and passenger trucks going around the centre of town. That's going to help the city grow. It's growing every 5 days. And this airport is absolutely and utterly surrounded now. So it's got lots of passengers and mail for the aircraft. It looks like the Hog AI is trying to build bigger and more complex railway networks now. It's got the money, so I don't see why it shouldn't be able to. Though where this station thinks it's going, I have no idea. There's nothing in the direct vicinity. There is something up here though. It's a different store to station, so maybe these two are intended to be connected together. I can tell though that... Oh, there we go. There we go. We can actually find out. Where's it going? Ah, yes. Through the hill and round. Looks like it is going where it needs to. A nice little bridge over there. Bit bumpy, and then connecting up. Oh, it fixed the bump even. Fantastic. Okay. But that was one line. Is it going to try and do the other one? Oh, here it goes. The other one's coming along. It's going under the double decker there. Bringing it through and then, yeah, connected. You know what? Not too bad of a railway line. Using path signals. Good. Relatively good station terminus designs here and here. There comes the first train. Using bridges over the roads. That's good as well. Tunnels through there. They're a little long, but not too bad. And a forced depot along the way to make sure those trains get serviced all of the way. Some rough maths tells me that Trains AI has around 10 to 15 years left before it goes under as well. It hasn't done anything in all this time that we've been running. So I'm going to disqualify it, discount it, and shut it down. Now, according to the documentation, stopping an AI with a particular company ID will force that AI to close down. So let's try that. And there we go. Trains AI has been declared bankrupt and closed off by me. I was unhappy that it was ever going to get anywhere. This little passenger and mail service that the Hog AI put in not long ago is doing really well. So far this year, it's done nearly £200,000, and we only just entered June. The reason why it does really well? Well, it's just a simple service. Passengers and mail are a good thing to do, and the trains go back and forward. They're getting serviced, and we've got a good spread into the town. The AI is using high coverage with lots of bus stations to get all of these passengers and mail onto these trains quickly, and then they send themselves back, making good profit down the line. Now, this one could have been a bigger town, but you know what? It's doing okay. With our last AI eliminated, I think we can say quite comfortably we have our 5 survivors. Here are the bottom 4: NoCab, AIvsAI, Choo Choo, and Purple Motion, run by Railway. Now, of course, these don't do very well at all when compared to the Hog. Look at that graph. They just look like little straight lines at the bottom compared to the Hog AI. But this was really to be expected. And when you look at the world, you can see why. So many of these stations are green labels. The Hog AI has lots of buses and vehicles going around lots of towns, expanding them, then doing aircraft and ships between them all for massive profits. The company value graph is a similar story. Taking away the Hog AI shows these companies being nice and stable and growing. And as we come towards the end of 20 years of this very harsh environment for the AIs, I think we can safely say the ones that have survived so far are probably just going to survive from this point forward. So here we have the final statistics: nearly 1,500 vehicles, 18 crashes, and so many bankruptcies and mergers. And if we look at those operating profits, we can see which ones are still alive. Railway is still alive there at the 2nd place. Then just beneath it is AIvsAI, jumping up above Choo Choo in the last year or so. No cabs down the bottom there, but still doing a lot better than all of the ones that failed. And of course the hog, right up here, way above everybody else, making over 7 million per period. I don't know about you, but I found that quite interesting. It was nice to put the AIs in a completely different environment and see how harsh we could really be for them. Now, if you want to see other ones in this series, there is a playlist linked in the video description, and leave all your thoughts, ideas and questions, especially ideas about different scenarios you would like me to put these AI through in the future. But I think we're going to call it all there for now. Well done to all of the AIs who survived. They made some pretty interesting railways and different routes between them all, some of them skipping round and under and through, but at the end of the day, for most of them, it seemed like the airports were just too much, although some of them have managed that successfully. We've even got some canals being put in by some of the AIs now that they've got the money, getting even more shipping across to the other side. Now, this might work, but it's not very efficient, is it? Look, they've got the depot all the way down this piece of canal, and they've gone up, over, back down again just to get to this water supply. At least I think that's what they're doing. Let's have a look at the ship. The ship is actually, that's weird. The ship's in the lock, connected to the dock, and it is doing water. Yes, it is moving water across the world over to presumably this town. So not only was it interesting to see which companies made it and which companies didn't, they also did some pretty quirky things along the way, which is always nice to see in these AI battles. Just a quick note to thank everybody who supports my channel, whether that be through YouTube channel memberships, on the Twitch subs, or even through Viewer Plus. It is much appreciated. You can go to masterhellish.net to find out all the different ways to support me, and a lot of them are free. So have a look at that, and again, thank you so much. But that is going to be all for now. Thank you very much for watching, take care, and for now, goodbye.